You ever stop and wonder how much of your suffering didn't actually come from what happened to you, but from the 10,000 times you replayed it in your head? Like, genuinely pause and think about that. The breakup didn't break you. The mental reruns did. The job rejection didn't destroy your confidence. The 4 months you spent catastrophizing it into a personal failure did. Your life didn't fall apart because of the moment. It unraveled because of the movie you kept playing after the credits rolled. That's the real mind bender. It wasn't the bad day. It was the loop. It was the Tuesday night that bled into Wednesday morning, and suddenly it's Thursday and you haven't slept because you're still dissecting that conversation from last weekend. Like it's a murder case and you're both the detective and the suspect. You think you're healing. You're not healing. You're just hurting yourself more efficiently. Because overthinking is not just overthinking, it's emotional self-harm with a good marketing team. It sounds innocent, harmless, intellectual even. I'm just being thorough. I'm just introspective. I'm just making sure. No, you're bleeding under the guise of being careful. You're setting your brain on fire and calling it processing. You're not solving the problem. You are the problem now. You're dragging your nervous system through the same battlefield every night, thinking maybe this time you'll win. But there is no winning. There's just the echo chamber of what ifs and worst case scenarios. And that one text you shouldn't have sent in 2018. You ever sit there and realize you've spent more time reliving something than actually living? Like the pain itself ended months ago. But you kept the ghost of it alive. You kept feeding it attention, like some weird little emotional Tamagotchi. That ex moved on. That boss forgot your name. That moment passed. But you're still playing mental archaeologist, digging up bones that should have been buried years ago. Why? Because it feels safe. It feels like control. Like if you can just think hard enough, if you can figure out why it all happened, if you can rewind and pause and analyze every micro expression, you'll finally get closure. But here's the truth bomb. Ready? Overthinking doesn't give you closure, it delays it. It tricks you into thinking you're making progress when really, you're just standing in place, burning mental calories like a hamster on a wheel. And the worst part? It feels productive. That's the evil genius of it. You're lying there at 2:46 a.m. like, I'm just trying to understand. No, you're spiraling, sweetie. You're building IKEA furniture with no manual, blindfolded, while the floor's lava and someone's playing circus music in the background. Meanwhile, you're halfway through a Reddit thread about a stranger's midlife crisis. There's an empty bowl of cereal beside you, and somehow you've convinced yourself your own dog resents you. Like, what is happening? That's overthinking. It's not logic. It's fear, dressed in a lab coat. It's control, issues in a wig, and glasses pretending to be your therapist. It's your brain trying to protect you by turning everything into a puzzle. But life isn't a puzzle, it's just life. Messy, unfair, glorious, chaotic, and your brain's like, nope, let's break this down. Let's dissect that awkward smile from your boss. Let's wonder if your best friend is secretly mad at you because she said LOL instead of LMAO. Let's relive that presentation from 3 weeks ago and hyperfixate on how your voice cracked at the 7:12 mark. Let's convince ourselves we're failing at life because we didn't answer an email fast enough. You ever notice how overthinking always ends in some version of, you suck? That's the kicker. It never ends in, you're doing great, sweetie. Nope. It ends in you questioning your worth, your choices, your entire identity. Because your brain is terrified of uncertainty, and overthinking gives it the illusion that it's doing something about it. But here's the brutal, liberating truth. You don't think your way out of quicksand. You just sink slower. And if you've ever stared at your ceiling at 3 a.m., heart pounding over something no one else even remembers, replaying that one awkward moment from 7th grade like it's live streaming in 4K, welcome. You're not broken. You're just human, with a brain that hasn't gotten the memo that the threat is over, that it's safe to stop replaying, that healing doesn't mean thinking about it more, it means letting it go. Which, yeah, sounds fake, I know. But letting go doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It means you're done renting out mental space to things that don't pay you peace. You've suffered enough. It's time to stop lighting yourself on fire, trying to see in the dark. Let your brain rest. Let the moment be over. Because the pain, that was real. But the suffering, that's optional. And the longer you live in your head, the more life passes you by without ever being felt. And modern life? Oh, it makes it so much worse. You are overstimulated, underrested, and drowning in a digital soup of garbage information you never asked for. You wake up and check your phone. Boom. 10 tabs open in your brain before your feet even hit the floor. Tab 1, the world is on fire. Tab 2, your friend just got engaged. Tab 3, that one celebrity aged badly. Feel better now? Tab 4, someone from high school just bought a boat. You can't even afford guac. Tab 5, a productivity guru says you should be waking up at 4 a.m., drinking bone broth, and running a startup by noon. You're still trying to convince yourself to shower. And this is before coffee. Your brain's in survival mode by 9:17 a.m., juggling existential dread, self-comparison, doom scrolling, and the deep burning question, is that mole on my arm supposed to be shaped like Australia? But somehow, you still feel lazy. You feel guilty for not having a six-figure side hustle, a six-pack, a minimalist aesthetic, a girlfriend, and an air fryer. And you're like, what the hell are we even doing? We've become a generation that's allergic to stillness. The second life slows down, we panic. Every gap, every crack in the day that used to be filled with boredom, silence, or God forbid, reflection, is now stuffed to the brim with content. TikToks, podcasts, audiobooks, tweets, more TikToks. Another tweet. An ad for something you whispered about yesterday, now magically in your feed. It never stops. You can't even stand in line for coffee without scrolling. You can't walk your dog without a podcast telling you how to maximize your focus hours. You can't even poop without being fed 7 different world crises and a clip of someone making banana bread in Bali. And if your brain finally gets a moment of silence, that's when the real monsters show up. Not the ones on the news, the ones inside, the intrusive thoughts, the quiet little assassins that whisper things like, why aren't you further ahead by now? Why can't you just be normal for once? Why did you say that thing in 2013, you absolute idiot? The voice that sounds like you but talks to you like it hates you. So what do? We panic, and we do what we've been trained to do. Think harder. Maybe if I just think more, try harder, dig deeper, analyze further, I'll solve it. I'll finally uncover the grand unified theory of why I'm like this. Spoiler alert, you won't. Because there's nothing to solve. You're not a malfunctioning machine. You're a tired human being living in an overstimulated nightmare of comparison and capitalism, trying to logic your way out of feeling. But feelings aren't math problems. You don't solve them. You feel them. You ride the wave, not build a spreadsheet about its velocity. But here we are, punching anxiety into Google like it's a customer support line. I feel sad. Am I broken? I feel numb. Fix me. I feel behind. How do I catch up to people I don't even know living lives I don't even want? And the internet, God bless it, responds with more noise, more content, more opinions, more ways to hate yourself. And so the cycle continues. Because overthinking doesn't show up wearing a villain mask, it shows up wearing a suit. It sounds smart, responsible, even noble. You call it being self-aware. You call it just wanting to understand yourself. But what it really is? It's fear dressed like a scientist. It's trauma doing a TED Talk. It's your inner child, terrified and overwhelmed, pretending to be an adult who has it all figured out. It's anxiety in a PowerPoint presentation with bullet points and graphs. It's your brain trying to organize pain instead of feeling it. But here's the brutal truth. You can't outthink your way into healing. You can't spreadsheet your way into self-worth. And you damn sure can't Google your way into inner peace. Because healing doesn't come from noise. It comes from the pause, the quiet, the stillness, the scary moment when there's no distraction left. And it's just you, face to face with your own raw, messy, beautiful humanity. In that moment, that's where the real work begins. It's your brain doing the psychological equivalent of pacing in circles while pretending it's getting somewhere. Like, you've got a clipboard, a lab coat, and a whiteboard full of diagrams and timelines, but it's just emotional chaos wearing glasses. It's like arguing with a raccoon that broke into your kitchen at 2 a.m. You're both screeching, throwing things, and somehow it's your fault now. The raccoon's chewing a granola bar. You're sweating in your underwear, whisper screaming, "Get out!" No one's cleaning the mess. No one's resolving anything. It's just chaos in a confined space. That's your brain on overthinking. You want a story? Fine, I got you. There's this guy I know. Let's call him me. I once spent 19 days straight obsessing over one message I sent to a girl. One sentence. 7 words, that's it. I read it like it was the Declaration of Emotional Independence. I overanalyzed the punctuation. I questioned the tone. I ran it through a mental AI like, does this make me seem needy? Is this funny? Is it too funny? Am I the joke? I convinced myself I ruined everything. I spiraled, lost sleep, rehearsed imaginary follow-ups, wondered if I should fake my own death and move to Peru. Then she replied, sorry, I was busy. Want to hang out next week? That's it. 19 days of mental gymnastics. Over 7 words. And this is what overthinking does. It steals time, energy, sanity, and replaces them with nothing but noise. It taxes you twice. First, in your mind. Then, in reality. Except the first part? Optional. But nobody tells you that. They just say, think before you act. And somewhere along the way, you started thinking instead of acting. You thought overanalyzing equals being wise. You thought preparing for every possible outcome equals being responsible. You thought thinking was the same as fixing. It's not. Thinking equals thinking. Fixing equals doing. And too much thinking? It turns self-awareness into self-destruction. You go from, I want to understand myself, to, I must be fundamentally unlovable because I typoed your instead of your, and now I'll die alone. You ever meet someone who's stuck? And not because they lack talent, or options, or heart, but because they keep re-evaluating. Every path, every decision, every potential outcome, like life's some kind of 4D chess game. So they stay on square one, forever. That's the trap. Overthinking gives you this false sense of mastery. You feel like you're preparing for life. But what you're really doing is delaying it. You're not building a strategy, you're building a cage. You're not being thoughtful. You're being held hostage by your own fear. You don't need more thoughts, you need movement. Send the message, apply for the thing, say yes, say no, make the decision. Go outside and let the sun slap your face with vitamin D and a reminder that you're alive. Touch grass, literally or emotionally or figuratively. I don't care. Just get out of your head. Because overthinking never loved you. It just whispered in your ear, if we predict every outcome, maybe we won't get hurt again. But life doesn't work like that. Prediction isn't protection. Real safety doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting yourself to handle anything. That's peace. And peace, it doesn't live in thought spirals and mental simulations. Peace lives in acceptance, in surrender, in saying, I might mess up and that's okay. I'll deal with it when it happens. Because here's the truth bomb. Brace yourself. Your brain is never going to feel done. It's never going to stop generating questions. It's never going to give you a clean green light like, all clear, no anxiety left, go live your dream now. Nah. Your brain is like a browser with 85 tabs open, 6 frozen, 3 playing music, and 1 somewhere is shopping for lamps for no reason, and you have no clue where the sound is coming from. So what do? You stop trying to find the tab. You close the whole damn window. You shut it down, you breathe, you laugh at the absurdity of it all. You say, wow, my brain really tried to convince me I'm a walking disaster because someone took 3 hours to reply with a thumbs up emoji. Like, really? You have to step back and say, is this thought helping me or hurting me? That's it, that one question. Because not every thought deserves your attention. Not every worry is wisdom. Not every what if is worth a response. Some thoughts are just emotional spam. Mental pop-ups. Close them. Laugh at them. Let them go. Because the truth is, life doesn't happen in your head. It happens in the living. And the more you obsess over doing life perfectly, the more you miss it entirely. Progress doesn't come from perfect decisions. It comes from movement. Imperfect, messy, scared, beautiful movement. So let yourself move. Let yourself live. Let yourself get it wrong and laugh about it later. Because that's where peace lives. Not in knowing, in trusting, not in thinking, in trying. You feel the feeling. You stop trying to build a 37-step rescue plan for your own sadness. You stop hosting TED Talks in your head about your childhood, your ex, and that one embarrassing thing you did in Target 5 years ago. You stop trying to outthink your pain, Like it's a logic puzzle with a clean, satisfying answer. Because newsflash, pain isn't a math equation. It's a storm. You don't solve storms. You weather them. You don't get peace by earning it with productivity and perfect habits. You get peace by allowing it, by choosing it. You give yourself permission to exist, just as you are. Even if you're a mess, even if you still overthink and triple text and cry at commercials about puppies reuniting with soldiers, because guess what? Nobody has it figured out. Literally no one. The people you compare yourself to, also spiraling. The girl who posts aesthetic, that girl morning routines, had a panic attack over an unflattering selfie. The guy with the Lamborghini and crypto empire, still Googling how to feel proud of myself. The influencer with the clear skin, smooth transitions, and perfect captions, crying into a ring light between takes. The CEO with 3 assistants probably has a therapist on speed dial asking, why does nothing feel enough? The world is not as put together as it looks. It's smoke, filters, vibes, delusion. Everyone's just winging it and hoping no one notices. And you're doing fine. You're not broken. You're just tired. Tired of carrying expectations that were never yours. Tired of walking around with emotional weight that should have been dropped 10 miles back. Tired of being your own personal bully. So here it is, your permission slip. To feel, to fall apart for a minute, to be unsure, to not have a 5-year plan but still believe in your future. To rest without guilt, to choose peace over performance, to take a nap instead of solving your entire life in one sitting, to make one tiny, brave decision today without needing a PowerPoint presentation to justify it, to try, to fail, to try again anyway, because life isn't a test. It's recess, it's loud, it's messy, it's unfair. Sometimes you laugh until you snort, sometimes you cry while washing dishes, and sometimes you get hit in the face with a metaphorical dodgeball and still have to keep playing. But the point is, you're in the game, not because you have it all together, but because you showed up. Even in the overthinking, even in the uncertainty, even in the days when brushing your teeth felt like a victory. You're not supposed to figure it all out. You're supposed to live. You're allowed to overthink sometimes. You're allowed to cry in the shower. You're allowed to be dramatic and sensitive and text people long messages that start with, sorry if this is too much. You are not too much. You are a deep soul in a world that fears depth. You are a sensitive heart in a culture obsessed with being chill and unbothered. You are a human being in a machine-like system that keeps telling you to be more productive instead of more present. And maybe, just maybe, that's not your weakness. Maybe that's your superpower, your depth, your compassion, your wild beating heart that refuses to go numb. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs real ones, messy ones, tender ones who show up when it's hard, ones who still choose love, even when it hurts. So take a breath, drop your shoulders, close the 45 tabs in your brain that haven't helped you at all. The world can wait. But your peace? That starts now, not tomorrow. Not when you've figured it all out. Not when you've fixed everything. Now. You're allowed to stop fighting yourself. You're allowed to just be. And maybe for the first time in a long time, that's enough.